Being chipped around by Frankenfield. Frankenfield stops up his man nicely. As the Penn's going to outlet this now to Blake Paris. Paris is going to dump this in and go for a change. Squirted free here, and the Caesars netminder is just going to be content to cover it up. So the Penn's going to get an offensive zone face-off. As Easton Borman steps in to take this draw. He's going to push this forward now to right winger Connor Wilson. Tries to wrap. Could not sneak that inside the post. It's still loose. Wilson has it behind the net now. He's going to go to the point man. Tried to work it back to Nana Weiss. It's picked out of the air. Wilson gets his puck back. Head Sawyer. Phillips going back door. Decides to shoot the puck. It comes down to Welch. Welch is going to throw this right back down the wall. Welch gets that puck. Tries to force it further along. Covering the point was Easton Borman trying to keep that in. Goes back in the offensive zone here. I like the pushback here from the Penn's elite squad so far today. A lot of offensive zone time as we are at the 11:52 mark of the first period. Neutral zone faceoff. Ferguson's on with Mulligan. Jaworski on the backside. It's Loya and Stark. As we are in the final game of the 2024-25 season, Owen Mulligan's going to wind things down. He stops up behind the zone, left it for Ferguson. Long shot there, taken just wide of the net by Owen Mulligan. 43, Grant Loy's going to hustle over to get to this puck. Tries to curl it to the center of the ice. It's picked off by Pacioretty. Pacioretty tried to move it to 18. As 18 is going to be knocked off the puck there by Brooks Jaworski. Grant Loy is trying to move this along. He's going to reverse it now behind the net to his D partner. That's Nico Stark. As the Pens are battling Little Caesars here on the half wall, it's going to be number 93, Riker Ferguson, that comes out of the fray with the puck. Bounces it on the wall behind the net. But Little Caesars able to keep this in. Number 18 tries to protect this puck. It's knocked off of his stick by Ferguson. Comes to Jaworski. Jaworski backhands it over to Mulligan. The Penn's going to change behind the play. Mulligan tries to dump it in. He collides with Borman as he was going to the bench, though. As Welch is going to step up on Pacioretty now. Creates a turnover here. Separates his man from the puck. It goes to Easton Borman. Borman moves it up to Bingham Green. Green's got the defenseman turned the wrong way. He's going to take him here. As 92's able to force Green into the boards. Puck goes behind the net now. Where Bingham Green has it. Tries to backhand it in the slot. Frankenfield steps up and he's going to get a stick into Pacioretty. As Frankenfield's going to go to the box for a trip. So first power play of the game is going to go to the Little Caesars squad. As on to kill off this penalty, number 19, Bingham Green, 25, Blake Paris, Welch and Nenavisa, and of course in net, number 29, Max Dragicic. It's going to be pushed forward here by 88. Shot taken off the outside of the net. As it's behind the net, picked up now by CJ Nenavisa. He's challenged, and as the puck comes back to the Caesars point man. 8's going to walk in. He shoots it wide. .15 now has it behind the net. He's looking for a backdoor pass. He's kept to the outside. He's going to skate and leave it for the point man. As Caesars content to stay the outside. It's swallowed up by Dragicic. Caesars look content to just kill some time on that power play of theirs. They worked everything to the outside, and Max Dragicic gets a whistle here, so the Penguins can change up their penalty killers. 54 seconds to go on the penalty to number 4, Wyatt Frankenfield, in the box for tripping with 9:32 to go in the first period. Now Sawyer Phillips, tasked with winning this draw. He's on with Wilson, Loya, and Nico Stark. Stark is going to go off the dashboard behind the net. Loya hustles over there. Takes a hit, gets it up to Wilson, and gets it out of the zone. It's going to come right back in the Pens D zone here by Little Caesars. Stark contest. He chips it behind to the stick of Wilson, who reverses it back below the goal line. Stark's going to try and push it out the other side. He finds number 3, that's Sawyer Phillips, outletting it just under the stick of Connor Wilson. As we have 20 to go here on the penalty kill. Caesars tries to chip it around. They're going to have a 3-on-1 here as Loya's hustling to get back. 18 tries to move it back door. 18's pass went to nobody. As it's deflected in, right pad saved there by Dragosic. We're back to 5-on-5 action. As Frankenfield goes to the bench. It's going to big blocker save again by Dragosic, holding down the fort here as the Pens are trying to get back into operating on even strength. As just ahead of the play was number 8, Connor Wilson, as that pass came across to 43, Grant Loya. Neutral zone faceoff. Pens are going to be able to change up their personnel. Dragosic holding down the fort to keep this a scoreless game so far as we approach the midpoint of the first period. Barman's now flanked by Mulligan and Gaworski. Nenevisa and Welch make up the D pairing as it comes back to CJ Nenevisa. He's being pressured by 88. Chips it ahead to Gaworski. Gaworski tries to chip it into the offensive zone now where Borman's on the forecheck. Mulligan now trying to get to that puck. It goes all the way down the ice. And this is far enough for an icing call. As the Pens are going to go right back into the offensive zone, sticking with the same 5 on the ice, 7:56 to go in the first. Last night with the win over PHC, the 2015 Pens Elite squad notched their 40th win of the season. They want one more here to get number 41 as Little Caesars, currently ranked number 1 in the country. It's going to be putting up a tough test here as they outlet it through the neutral zone. As Welch is going to try and find this in his skates, he does. He's going to move it back to CJ Nenevisa, and Nenevisa up to Gaworski. He's going to pop right back to the stick blade of Noah Walsh. He's going to put this on his backhand, tries to move this up ahead. Does find the stick of Gaworski, chips it back into the offensive zone. A couple of Pens are going to make a change. As freshly on the ice is number 93, centerman Riker Ferguson. As Caesars is going to try and push the play here. 1-on-1. Nenevisa forces his man to the outside. Swallowed up by Dragosic. No rebound. As it's been a pretty even play so far in the first period, aside from a minute 30 penalty, where Dragosic has had to stand tall. Pens Elite squad showing a lot of energy, a lot of hop this morning, as Riker Ferguson wins this back. It's been good on draws so far today. Wins it back to Stark. Caesars gets control there at the point. Pressure by Paris. Deflects. High over the net. 53 got a stick on that shot. Deflected over the shoulder of Dragosic. As 92 chips around a couple bodies. He moves it down to Pacioretty. He's pressured now by Frankenfield. As Pacioretty is just clamping down on the stick there. Harris now brings it in the offensive zone. It's turned over high in the zone here. 18's going to try Nenevisa. It goes to his backhand. Good back check there by Nico Stark to lift the stick as well.
Behind you, get your stick!
Couple of sticks on the ice. Nenevisa is going to try and protect this in his blades. He's still kicking it. As Pacioretty's now going to walk off the wall. Couple of bodies collide. Stark wins this battle momentarily. Now finds the stick blade of Pacioretty. Look for a backdoor pass on his backhand. Nothing there. CJ Nenevisa hustles over this puck. As Stark moves it up to number 19, Bingham Green. Can't move it along, though. Looked like 53 actually closed his hand on that puck as he caught it for a second. Finds 18. CJ Nenevisa protects the backdoor pass there. He had Pacioretty backdoor. It shuts that down. Pens are hemmed in their zone here as we approach the later stages of the first period. Bingham Green tries to get it out of the zone. That does come out of the zone finally. As it's chipped now to the stick of Nenevisa. Nenevisa up to Paris. It's on the backside, and Paris punches this forward with his left hand. Pens just need to get it deep now at this point and get it changed. Able to change up a couple of bodies here, but some tired Penguins on 53. Correction, number 3 stops up on the half wall. Pacioretty leaves it for his deep. Man, or correction, that's number 18. He's shut down by Ferguson. Wilson now, a couple of players are changing. Wilson may have a chance here. Wilson's going to come in. He bounces it out wide. Rebound sits there for Borman to pick up now. As Connor Wilson has it on the half wall, he's going to cycle it back to Borman. Borman throws it off the equipment of Phillips. Welch is going to pinch down now. He's going to throw it behind all the way around where Loya's going to try and hustle over to get to this puck. Loya now keeps it in. Comes right back to the stick play to Grant Loya. Long shot, deflects in on net. It's still loose as Connor Wilson's leveled into the netminder. Quick whistle there from the officials. But it's an offensive zone faceoff with 4:34. Borman flanked by the Wilson-Phillips pairing. And Frankenfield came onto the ice for Loya. Welch remains on. As it's going to be one back to center here. As 19 is going to bounce around. Back door is open there for a second. But it's shut down here as the Pens regroup in the D zone. Ceasars goes D to D. It's going to be shot down to 91. 91's pressured by a couple of bodies. Not sure if that puck got through. Dragosic may have gotten to that with his right pad. As the Pen's going to dump it in and go for a change. Puck squirts out just outside of the zone. It goes under the stick of number 12, Owen Mulligan. Nico Stark takes an elbow from number 91. He gives it right back to him behind the net. He takes 2 punches here. Awesome. As 91 threw a left hook, right jab.
Wake up, Stripes! You don't give a shit. Be good at something.
As they're going to take Nico Stark to the box too.
You're garbage.
Nico Stark's going to the box, I guess, for a minute 30 for getting punched in the face. He took an elbow on the way down. Took a couple of punches to the face, so it's 5-on-5 action here. As Mulligan now is going to try and push this out of the zone, unable to do so. As Ferguson now follows on. As he's getting held up by 18. Comes free to Loya. And Ceasars puts this right back into the offensive zone, and it's going to be an offsides call. They had a couple bodies ahead of the play. As the temperature is starting to amp up here late in the first period. Riker Ferguson's on with Mulligan. Jaworski on the backside. It's Loya and Nenavisa. As 18 comes out of the draw here with the puck. He's going to dump it in deep where Ferguson's going to go back and collect it. Throws it over to Nenavisa. Nenavisa's run into. Picked up now by Pacioretty. Seam pass over to 18. Tries to dance around Lois. 18 still has that puck. Throws it back to the point man. 93 Riker Ferguson comes out of there with the puck. Outlets it to Jaworski. Jaworski tries to move it right ahead. Good little pass there by Brooks. Knocked off the puck, though, off the stick of Mulligan. As Ceasars comes right back in. Good back check there by Borman. Rebound sitting out in front of the net. Comes to the stick of 18. As Bingham Green blocks that shot attempt. 18 dances around him, man. 18 has all kinds of space, dances around Borman. Then Nevisa comes out, sticked away by Welch. As Bingham Green's going to force the play. He's forced to the wall as he dumps it deep. As Pacioretty's floating a little bit ahead of the play as they're trying to, I think they're going to try and set up a stretch pass, but it's picked off by Wyatt Frankenfield. As a one-touch pass here from Pacioretty starts the transition. Back check there by Blake Paris. Frankenfield's digging for this puck. It's behind him, though. He's trying to chip it out, throws it into equipment of a couple of guys. As 88 walks off the wall with it, it goes behind the net. Foot race here between Pacioretty and Welch. Good coverage there by Frankenfield. It's going to throw it all the way down the ice. Don't know if this has the distance for icing. It does. So the Pens are going to come 200 feet right back into their own zone with 1:27 to go in the first period. As Ferguson's going to step in for this draw against number 88 for Ceasars. Ferguson's on with Wilson, Phillips, Loya, and Nenavisa now. 19 tries to bury it against the wall. Loya tries to lean on him a little bit. 19 dances off the wall, though. Long shot taken about a foot and a half wide of the net, though. Phillips knocked off the puck as it comes back to the point man. Throws it down the wall behind the net where Nenavisa pushes along further. Picked up by 19. Nenavisa sticks with him. He's going to switch now with Ferguson that comes in. Good play there by Riker Ferguson to separate his man as Wilson chips it behind 15. As he's forced to the wall here, loses the puck as it comes all the way out the other side. We're hustling over to get this puck and cycle it back down as Riker Ferguson as we are under 39 to go in the first period. 0-0 the score. Pens taking on number 1 Little Ceasars right now. As Ceasars going to try and advise a good stick by CJ. As a centering pass goes off of Ceasars number 88, 22 to go in the first. Good skating there by Grant Loya, reversing behind the net. He's run into by Pacioretty. Pacioretty stays on his feet. Phillips is able to chip this back to neutral. But it's going to be turned over here. One last rush here for Little Ceasars. They're walking in. Pacioretty now has it 2 to go in the first. Long shot, glove down by Dragicic, and that's going to be it for the first period. Strong game so far, played by Max Dragicic in net. And we'll be back here for second period action live from the UPMC Lemieux Sports Complex momentarily.
It's the chick from her.
All right, second period action set to resume here in a scoreless game between the Pens Elite 2015 boys, coached by Toby Nenavisa, taking on number 1 in the country there. And Brooks Gaworski gets his hand caught in the cookie jar as he was reaching out with the stick. And he trips down the Ceasars defender, number 92. So Brooks is going to sit down for the next minute 30, 14:47 to go in the second period. Pens are going to have to kill off their second penalty of the game. 2 tripping calls. And tasked with killing this off at center is going to be Borman. He's on with Mulligan, Stark, and Frankenfield. Pad save there by Dragicic, deflects wide of the net. Comes back to the point man, number 3. Long shot goes off the stick of Mulligan, high up over the cage. Hustling over to this puck now is Pacioretty. Pacioretty now picks it up. He's being harassed by Borman, forced out of the zone. Mulligan's going to push this further. They're going to go for a change smartly. as that was chipped. It was chipped after the red line. And the official blew a whistle here. As multiple players from Little Caesars could have picked up that puck. As the officials here today, we're going to say struggling mightily so far. So it comes back and it's a D-zone face-off where it's tied up now. As Ceasars goes D to D. It's going to go off the right skate of Blake Paris, forced further again by Bingham Green. Not out of the zone here. Long shot goes wide. Shot taken. Glove down by Dragosic. As another D-zone face-off comes up to the right of netminder Max Dragosic. Green steps in for the draw. Green tries to push it forward. It's in a couple of guys' skates. And then Avisa comes over to help out. It's going to be pushed back to the point man, number 15. 15 surveys his options, goes right back down the wall. A little give and go move. Comes right back to 15. Deflects wide. Still sitting there. Welch now has the puck. As he tries to move it to Blake Paris. Blake Paris tries to chip it ahead out of the zone. 17 to go on the penalty. As the Pens are trying to stay at home, keep Ceasars to the outside. They reverse it. And it's number 90 now that walks down the wall. It goes off the equipment of Welch. Then Avisa puts his man on as well. It comes out of the zone here, and that's going to be it for the penalty to Brooks Kowarski. But right back into the offensive zone. Curl move here as they try backdoor. They move it across the ice to 15. 15 runs out of real estate, stays with it, though, as he's being pressured by Ferguson. As Welch runs into a diving Ferguson. The Pens are just trying to get out of the zone, high up over everybody. And he could have got to that puck again. As one official has his hand up for an icing call, and one does not. As I know youth hockey is hurting for officials. So if you know any good ones, we might be looking for two here today. But we approach the 12-14 mark of the second period, and this is an actual icing call. As it goes 200 feet, the Pens are going to go right back into their D zone. But they're able to change up their forward grouping. As onto the ice comes number 74, Easton Borman, number 12, Owen Mulligan, and number 45, Brooks Kowarski. On as the defensive pairing, Loya and Stark. Now, Kowarski's going to be pulled down. Nothing's called there. As making a strong save is number 29, Max Dragosic. As following us on here is Owen Mullen. He's got Borman going with him. He stops up, reverses back to Kowarski. Kowarski comes in, though. It's knocked off of his stick. Hustling out of this puck is Grant Loy. It's knocked out of the zone now. Pens are going to transition this right back into the offensive zone. Brooks Kowarski goes 1-on-4. He separates. He comes down the right side. Shot off the blocker. And it's gloved down by number 45. For an offensive zone faceoff. As definitely a missed call there off the last faceoff. Brooks Kowarski pulled down. But Ferguson's on for this offensive zone faceoff. He's on with Paris and Bingham Green. He's going to win it back. Welch is hustling over to keep us in the zone. Deflects off the equipment at 18. Frankenfield now has it. He's knocked off the puck, but helping him out is number 19, Bingham Green. He has his stick taken away. As Blake Paris tries to put some pressure on, it comes back into the Pens D zone. Hustling back for this is 14, Welch. Welch is going to reverse this to Ferguson. Ferguson off the stick of a reaching Blake Paris, comes out of the zone now, skated out of danger, sent into space by number 19, Bingham Green. He wins that foot race, lifts the stick. Bingham Green has Blake Paris in front of the net, goes to Paris, Unable to get a shot away, though. Backhanded in front of the net. It's still in equipment. Softly moved behind the net. Blake Paris hustles over to get to this puck here on the goal line. He's going to throw it all the way around to Wyatt Frankenfield at the point. Comes out of the zone, though, as Frankenfield is going to get this chipped over. It comes past everybody and wide of the net. Easton Borman's now pulled down. And that must be the 3-for-1 special. After a couple of non-calls, 2 or 3 non-calls, the Pens are going to end up with 1. So the Pens will have their first power play. And as the late, great Mike Lang would say, the turkey is on the table. $10:29 to go in the second period. 19 goes to the box for a trip. Easton Borman, Wilson, Phillips, Nenevisa, and Loy make up the power play unit here. It's going to be 1 forward to Wilson. Unable to get to that puck, though. Kusatari's going to come over and try and get it out of the zone. It's held in nicely by Loy. Loy to Phillips. Phillips chips it further along to Wilson. Wilson has it below the goal line now. Centering pass attempt. Goes through everybody. Nenevisa is going to try and chip this. It goes off the backside of 18 and out of the zone. As there is now 1:04 to go on the Pens power play. Pens chip this back into the offensive zone. It's going to come all the way in on the netminder, who's content to cover it up. And this sends up another offensive zone faceoff. 58 to go on the penalty to number 19. Tripping call for Little Caesars. 0-0 the score. 9:56 to go in the second period. Thanks to everybody for tuning into the game on Cine TV this morning. As the Pens are looking to get the first goal of the game, and they score this game, have the power play, it's going to be sent just under the reach and under the stick of C. Nenevisa. As Little Caesars gets a shorthanded shot there, as Dragosic shuts that down with flashing the left pad out, as Sawyer Phillips tries to move this further along. It does come to the stick late of Sawyer Phillips. Is going to carry it in. He holds the zone nicely, but it pops out now as Connor Wilson's going to retreat. As we have 26 to go on the Pens power play. Sends it over to Borman. Borman over to Phillips. Phillips probably wants to get this deep here. It's followed along by Borman as it comes right back into the Pens D zone as it's chipped in by number 91. Picked up now by Nenevisa. Throws it behind the net. Pens may have time for one more power play rush as Sawyer Phillips is up ahead. Picked up by Borman. Borman's going to bounce it outside. We're back to 5-on-5 action as 19's able to get behind Frankenfield here and shot wide of the net. Polisky now up ahead of the play. Borman tried to find him, just didn't have a lot of juice on that pass as it's being ping-balled around the neutral zone here. As following on this puck to number 12, Owen Mulligan. They go D to D, 15 over to 19. Little Caesars does. He stops up now, high in the zone. Looks like he may have taken it out of the zone, but maybe not. As Nenevisa collides with his man, as it's pushed up to the point by 12, Owen Mulligan. Goes over the stick of Frankenfield as Pacioretty hustles on to get to this puck. Good stick there by Owen Mulligan. Moves it up to 45. Brooks Gaworski. Gaworski's collided with. As there's a stick on the ice right now, it's Pacioretty's 2-on-1 develops. Backdoor is open. It's put in the net. Pens just get a little bit out of position there. Left the man open back door. And it's a 1-0 game here for Little Caesars. Play resumes here in the second period as the Pens try to get something going. As Pacioretty's going to walk into the offensive zone now. He leaves it into space. Nico Stark. Strong game for Nico Stark. He's going to lead the rush. Pens are coming out. They've got numbers. Ahead of the play, though, was 25 Lake Paris. Offsides is going to be the call. Penn's had something going. They had a 4-on-2 developing. As into the offensive zone comes Bingham Green. He chips it around. He's got Riker Ferguson going to the net. Power move for Fergie. It's loose just wide. It was sitting there on the goal line. As Little Caesars is going to dump this all the way down the ice. What a power move there. Riker Ferguson protects it on his backhand, cuts inside, just eats outside of the right pad of netminder 45. He did not know where that puck was. It was sitting right on the goal line. And it came out the other side as the Penguins almost draw it even. On for this draw right now is number 8, Connor Wilson. 88 wins this draw back. As Ceasars is going to bring this back to center. They have a 2-on-2 developing. As 88 bounces this wide, gets around that device. Backdoor, no, it's going to be shot wide of the net. As Connor Wilson's going to try and carry this out of the zone himself. He's going to cut into the center of the ice. Pens now have a 3-on-1. Connor Wilson tries a curl move, loses the puck. He's had Borman going with him. Instead, it's going to Phillips right now. Phillips goes behind the net. Reverses back to Borman. Borman's going to send this back to the point man, Nanavisa. Nanavisa keeps this in the zone nicely, going to his backhand, goes down to Borman. As it's going to squirt back into the neutral zone. Welch now picks it up. He's going to transition it right up to Sora Phillips. He loses the puck, though, and he goes in offsides. So the Pens, anytime they start to get a little bit of a pushback, been having some unforced errors. Sorry, I was playing with Nico Nenavisa's Legos here for a second. Or Duplo blocks, I should say. As we have a neutral zone face-off. As it's won back cleanly by Ferguson to start. Goes right back, give and go. Pretty move there. Ferguson goes down. As 53 gets behind the defense. Makes a little move. Good shut down by Dragosic. He just ran out of real estate. Showed patience, and 53 had nowhere to go with the puck. Pusateri now retreats back into his own zone. Finds 53 again. 6:10 to go in the second period. 1-0 to score. Number 1 Little Caesars on top of your 2015 Pittsburgh Penguins elite squad. As 18 now is going to wheel it up. And he's forced to the wall nicely by Fergie. Picked up now by Nico Stark. Just behind number 45, Brooks Kowarski, comes back into the Pens offensive zone, but possessing the puck is Pusateri. Moves it over to his D partner, number 3. Turned over here to Brooks Kowarski. Unable to hang on to that puck, though. Following on is Grant Loya. He's got Mulligan going back door. Tries to hit him with the hit. Kowarski also streaking to the net. As Kowarski's going to come around, he bounces it over to Loya. Loya sneaking down. Found a soft spot, leaves it for Borman. But 3 picks it up behind the net. He's going to throw it up the point where Frankenfield, unable to get to that puck. He creates an outlet here for 91. 91's behind the defense. And it's swallowed up by Dragosic. D-zone faceoff now coming up. It's going to be won by Little Caesars. They throw it behind the goal line where over to contest this is Borman. Borman tries to throw it over to Welch. He's run into, comes out the other side back to the point man, number 90. They play catch. As trying to contest this is Borman. Borman moves it up to Paris. He's run into, I think they're going to get a soft call here on Blake Paris for a hold. Looked like 90 kind of bear hugged Paris. And so Paris is going to go to the box, minute 30 for being hugged. So the Pens have to kill off another power play here. Third penalty kill of the game as Ceasars plays catch with it. They bring it below the goal line. Centering pass attempt comes out the other side where 19 now has control. He's going to throw it up to his point man, number 90. On the pressures, Bingham Green is throwing back down the wall to 19. 19 dances around Welch now. Welch gets a stick, but moves up to the point. That's 90. As they're taking some space here, as the Pens collapsing around the net, trying to protect the house. Comes to Frankenfield. Frankenfield throws it up on the wall to Bingham Green. Bingham Green chips it. And Borman now has a chance. He's streaking down the wall. He cuts into the net. Easton Borman just spans on it. Follows on a rebound shot wide. Still loose. As a mad scramble there, Borman almost creates something out of nothing, getting to his own rebound. Just shot wide of a yawning cage there. Easton Borman gets a flurry of offense here, shorthanded. Good stick by CJ Nenavisa to push this further along into the neutral zone. As Grant Lloyd tries to get it out of the zone, it's going to be shot into the skates here. As Ceasars brings us in, shot a foot wide of the net. Number 3 hustles on to get to this puck. As there's 17 seconds to go on the penalty to Blake Paris. As Grant Lloyd now tries to skate this out of danger, he's going to retreat back into his own zone. As he's pinned to the wall and knocked down. As Riker Ferguson's out of the play, Bingham Green tries to find Fergie just outside of his reach. As Fergie now has his puck. Power move, still loose, still sitting there. As he sends it under the stick of Wilson, creates an outlet here for Pacioretty here as Phillips got his stick into Pacioretty. Pacioretty clamped down on the stick, holding that stick of Phillips. And the parade of Penguins to the penalty box continues. Pacioretty felt that stick clamp down on it. The Penguins have their work cut out for them yet again on the penalty kill. As inconsistency seems to be the theme. So if anybody's watching the broadcast and is a fan of this officiating crew, I want to encourage them to take different pathways. But anyhow, we're back underway here. 2:34 to go in the second period. 1:16 to go on the penalty call now to Sawyer Phillips. Mulligan's going to step in for this draw. I believe it's going to be taken by 88, and it is. One back by 88. It's thrown back to the point man, number 3. Dances around Mulligan. Thrown back deep as the Pens are staying in the house. Seam pass through the back door, goes through everybody. Taken down the half wall now by the Ceasars, curling behind the net. As he's still skating with it is 92. Shot taken from the point into the midsection chest protector of Max Dragicic. Swallows that up. No rebound. As there's 53 now to go on the penalty to Sawyer Phillips. Pens looking for their 41st win of the season, but down 1-0 here late in the second period. The Little Ceasars trying to kill off another penalty here. They've been shorthanded most of this second period frame. Welch puts it behind the net to Nenavisa. Nenavisa up to Wilson. Wilson's able to get this back to center. As 91's going to try Welch. Welch is going to collapse on him on the wall. As it's thrown back to the point man, number 90. 90 tries to sauce this in, deflects wide of the net. 26 now to go in the penalty. Walsh is going to come over and reverse this behind the net. Over to Connor Wilson. But coming down from the point was the left D-man. As it's thrown behind the net now. Thrown up to the point man, 6 to go on the penalty. And it's thrown out of the zone. Pens catch a break here as it's back to 5-on-5 action. as that should be an icing call, and it is. The official, one official there was more worried about, I don't know. So we're at 1:15 to go in the second period. Offensive zone face-off. Wilson, Ferguson, Phillips, Loya, and Stark are the five on the ice here for the Pens. Loya's going to step up, pushes this along to Wilson. He's going to move it behind the net, though, as coming down from his deep position with Stark. Phillips is pinned against the wall. 3 wins that battle, goes under the stick of Stark here. And it should be an icing call. As it clearly went over the stick of Stark here. So inconsistency continues to be the theme here in the final game of the 2024-25 season for the Pens Elite Squad. As high in the zone now, possessing the puck is Little Caesars. Deflects off the stick of Nico Stark, wide of the net. 27 to go in the second period. Pacioretty now has it on the goal line. He's pressured by Ferguson. Picked up by Loya. As he's knocked off the puck momentarily. On to get this puck to number 7, Nico Stark. He's going to reverse it behind the net. Smooth skating there by number 7. He's trying to outlet it. Deflects off of 18's stick. Not out of the zone here. 3 seconds to go. Pusateri walks in. Shot wide of the net. That's going to be it for the second period, where Little Caesars takes a 1-0 lead in that second period frame. Pens successively kill off multiple penalties. Some interesting calls here. As we'll be back in the third period momentarily. Thanks for joining us here on Cine TV. One more period to go for your 2015 Pittsburgh Penguins Elite Nenavisa boys. Standing tall in net all season and all game long. Number 29, Max Dragosic, taking a well-deserved drink of water here on the bench. So thank you, everybody, for supporting the boys all season long. Tuning in, sending in messages, coming to games. Big shout out to team manager, Beth Phillips. Thanks for running the show and keeping everybody organized all season long. So thank you, Beth Phillips, for serving as the team manager for your 2015 Pittsburgh Penguins Elite Nenavisa team. 1 period to go. Easton Borman steps in at center for this draw. He's on with Harris and Bingham Green. Welch and Frankenfield complete the D pairing. As it's one into the Pens offensive zone, as Easton Borman follows this on. As it's brought back to center off the stick of Welch now, he's going to retreat back into his offensive zone. He's being hooked up. As he had a stick, and he did that too. He clamped down on that stick smartly. If it's going to get called, then sell it. Because the refs today are buying it. So the Pens are going to go on the power play here early in the third period. As Fergie is going to step in for this draw on this power play. He's on with Gaworski, Mulligan, Moya, and Nenavisa. It's going to be one back by Ceasars. They're going to throw it off the dasher board here. As Pacioretty, once again, he pulls the stick out of the hand of Gaworski. As it comes now to Loya. Loya's going to step down. He's got some room. Loya, it's shot. It's loose in the high slot. Loya now picks it up again. Loya winds it back. Shot wide of the net, though. Goes off the outside of the glove of the netminder number 45. Centering pass attempt from Gaworski. It's loose. Now finally found as Mulligan now has his stick slashed out of his hand. Good pushback here on the Pens power play as 91 is in the box for a hook. .57 to go. Borman on with the Wilson-Phillips line. Nenavisa and Loya remain on the ice on the backside. As once again clamping down on the stick. But it's going to be brought in by Connor Wilson. Connor Wilson puts it home and the Pens tie it up. I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. Number 8, Connor Wilson puts it in the back of the net. He beat him like a rented mule. Connor Wilson ties the game on the power play. And the boys are fired up. As in the neutral zone, Sawyer Phillips took a hit to get it into the offensive zone and finds the stick of Connor Wilson, and he cashes in. But back on the attack now is Little Caesars, 91. Had a backdoor option. He decides to shoot that. He had a wide open 19. Selfish play there by 91 taking the shot. Little Caesars is saying it went into the net, but it went in after the whistle. I believe Frankenfield collided with Dragosic. So flurry of activity here. 13:30 now to go in the third period. The Pens draw it even on a Connor Wilson goal. As Riker Ferguson now picks it up in his own zone. Pens tied here in the third period with number 1 in the country, Little Caesars out of Michigan. As it comes to the stick of Frankenfield, tries to move it along. It's going to be picked off, though, by a Little Caesars player. As we got a whistle here. Hand pass? I think a hand pass is going to be called. As the Pens are going to change up their personnel grouping. As Easton Borman wins this back beyond the reach of Welch. Welch is going to have to hustle back into his own zone. Goes to the stick of Pacioretty, and he puts it in the net. Okay. No hand in the puck. No hand in the puck. So Little Caesars gets that right back. As it's a 2-1 game now in the third period. As Pacioretty dances around a couple of guys, and it's in the back of the net again. It's a 3-1 game.
He's retreating in his own zone. He panicked. He just tried to throw it.
So quickly a 1-1 game has turned into a 3-1 game as Little Caesars now is going to retreat back into their own zone. Riker Ferguson, he picks this puck up. Backhands it off the side of the cage. It's loose. And it's covered up by the netminder, 45. As Grant Loy is going to push this into the seam. It's Owen Mulligan tries to move this over to Gorski. Now finds the stick of Gorski. As Grant Loy retreats into his own zone. Owen Mulligan's pulled down here. It's going to be a penalty coming up. So Penn's going to probably have to score on this power play to draw this score closer. It's a 3-1 game right now for Ceasars. As 90 goes into the box for the next minute 30. As it's put off the wall here, Pacioretty's going to try Frankenfield. It's going to be sticked off by Welch. Centered. Welch now follows this on. He's going to get his head up. He tries a headman pass. He's trying to hit Sawyer Phillips. Phillips does get to this puck. Tries to move it further along. Wilson now has it behind the net. He goes to Borman. Borman tries to move it to Frankenfield. Frankenfield now walks in. Shot taken. Deflects in on net. And it's going to be swallowed up by the netminder. As Sawyer Phillips now has it high in the zone. Penn's on the power play for the next 30 seconds. Sawyer Phillips walks in. He finds Connor Wilson, the goal scorer. Wilson up to Nenavisa. Nenavisa walks in. He takes a long shot. Deflects in on net and covered up at the last second by the netminder with 22 to go. Ceasars able to outlet this back as they get behind the defense here. Catching up to the play that was Grant Loy. Good effort there by Grant to get back into it. 10-17 now to go in the third period. 5 seconds to go on the penalty call. CJ Nenavisa trying to push the play. As 91's now going to try Loya. He works it around him. On the back check, though, is Bingham Green to get to this puck. As into the offensive zone is Blake Parrish. He's knocked off the puck now. Hustling over for this is Nico Stark. Back through the neutral zone. We're under 10 to play here in the third period. Final game of the 2024-25 season. Easton Borman works around one guy. Backhands it high over the net. As it's chipped around Stark now. Mulligan cancels his man out. As Frankenfield peels back into his own zone. Mulligan gets his head up. He's looking to headman this up to Gaworski. Gaworski gets around a couple guys trying to dance around further. As it's brought back into the Pens zone by 19. Kicks around to a couple of sticks, and it comes to the stick of Nico Stark. Retreating back into his own zone now below the goal line is number 7, Nico Stark. As he was looking for Borman, stepping up into that play was Pacioretty to create a turnover. 90 now walks in. Pacioretty's open back door. Decides to shoot. Stark's going to chip this over to Borman. As Gaworski now picks it up in his own zone. He's knocked off the puck by Pacioretty. Stark tries a headman pass. As 18 is going to work it around a couple of bodies. Comes around, shot taken. As Gaworski is able to get to this puck, throws it back to the point man. Ferguson's going to skate this out of danger. He's going to try to take 18 now as he moves it to Mulligan. As on this puck right now is 14 Welch. He's going to dance around a couple of guys. He loses the puck. Wilson now has it. He's going to walk into the offensive zone. He's going to bounce this outside, gets around one man. He's going to try a wrap move. He's looking for somebody to pass this puck to. As Wilson goes down there holding his head. Coming off the wall is Sawyer Phillips. And it's going to be gloved down by the netminder. Offensive zone faceoff now underway. 7:08 to go in the third period. As bringing this back to the Pens offensive zone is 88. 88. Tries a centering pass that's going to be cut off by a couple of Penguins. Bingham Green now has it. Tries to throw it up to Sawyer Phillips. As Little Caesars brings this in, it's going to move it back toward a 91. 91 throws behind the net. Comes back to the point man, deflects wide off the stick of Borman. And to the tape of Bingham Green. And it's put in by Sawyer Phillips. A long shot finds the back of the net, and it's a 3-2 game with 6:20 to go. Sawyer Phillips cashes in as we approach the later stages of the third period. As Nico Stark goes back and retrieves this puck now. He's going to reverse it back to Loya. Loya up to Gaworski now. Pens have some momentum here off of that Sawyer Phillips goal. Blake Parrish brings it back into the offensive zone. He's going to backhand it across. As it comes up here to Nico Stark. Thought about pinching down. Does. Good pinch there by Nico Stark. As it's thrown back to neutral. Controlled now by Grant Lloyd. Dances around a couple of bodies. Lloyd's going to bring it in the offensive zone himself. He's going to bounce it down the left side. Power move from Grant Lloyd. Loose in the slot. Comes all the way back to the neutral zone and back into the Pens D zone. Welch now has it. He's going to headman this up to Blake Parrish. Goes under his stick. As Ceasars is going to try and push this ahead to Pacioretty. He dances around Frankenfield. As it's pushed back into the offensive zone. 4:44 to go in the third period. Owen Mulligan's going to hustle over to get to this puck. He's run into, following on, goal scorer for number 2, Sawyer Phillips. He's going to try and bring this closer to the net. It's knocked off of his stick here as 18's going to try and work around Welch. Welch is going to stick that right off in 91. As it's thrown right back into the D zone. As Welch is going to go back for this puck. He's going to reverse it over to Frankenfield. Frankenfield unable to collect that puck, though. As following on is Sawyer Phillips. He's going to push it back into the neutral zone. We're at 4:05 to go in the third period. Little Ceasars leads 3-2. As it's pushed along now to Sawyer Phillips. Ceasars is going to bring this right back into the Pens' offensive, or their own offensive zone. Big save there by Dragosic. Flashes out the right pad again. 2 strong saves there by Max. Long shot deflects off the skate of Ferguson and to the stick of CJ Nanavisa. 88 now walks out. Long shot, glove down by Dragosic. Good stop there by Max. Easton Borman tries to win this over to Connor Wilson. He's going to follow us on himself now. Borman is pulled down as we approach 3:20 to go in the third period. Following this puck on now is Easton Borman again. He's going to chip this further into the offensive zone. Tying his man up on the wall was Wilson's going to be knocked down with a high stick. But picked up by Pacioretty, who's forced to the wall by Nanavisa. As Pacioretty now has it below the goal line. He's going to wind things around, sticked away nicely by CJ. As coming up to bring this in is number 92, Pusateri. As it's thrown behind to 53. 53, long shot taken. Pad save there, sticked away by Dragosic. As the Pens fighting the clock now with 2:27 to go in the third period. It's under the backside of Pacioretty, who reached out and pulled down Borman. Nanavisa is going to move this now to Borman. Borman chips it to himself. He's got Green up ahead. It goes it to Green. Green tries to move it further along, but it goes to the defender. As Pusateri's going to try and bring this wide on Starkey, leaves it back. Or it's going to be picked up out by Bingham Green. He's got Wilson going with him. He's got Fergie as well. Instead, Wilson peels off to the bench. He goes for a change. Green walks around one guy. Tries to go back to the point man. That's Nico Stark hustling over for this puck. He's going to be knocked off by Pacioretty. As Wyatt's able to keep this in the zone momentarily. Brooks Skaworski now on the ice is going to take 88. Sliding over is Ferguson. He gets right back up. He's going to move this to Stark. Stark tries to headman this up. Goes around a couple of guys where Frankenfield's going to push this along to Sawyer Phillips. As the Pens have an empty net here, 1:05 to play. Borman now stops up for this puck. Gawarsi's going to pick this up. He brings it in the offensive zone. Gawarsi's streaking down the right side. Brooks Gawarsi takes a shot. Swallowed up into the equipment. Of netminder number 45. Pens are going to take a timeout here with 51.2 to go. Offensive zone face-off coming up last minute of the season for the Pens Elite team. .2 empty net. Riker Ferguson steps on the ice with Wilson and Phillips. Phillips tries to get the shot off. Loya tries to take the shot. Goes through everybody. Borman now has it. Easton Borman stops up below the goal line. Tries a centering pass attempt. Goes off a couple of skates. Behind the net now is Connor Wilson. Deflects it off the side of the net. Wilson still has the puck. Wilson sends it back to the point man, Nico Stark. Stark gets a shot off. Deflects just wide of the net. Ceasars tries to hustle over this puck. It's going to be chipped further along by Pacioretty. On his horse to get to this puck is number 7, Nico Stark. 28 to go in the period. He's going to move it along to Phillips. Phillips fans on the pass attempt. Moves it into the Pens offensive zone. As Phillips takes a long shot, 15 to go in the period. Hustling over Connor Wilson. Can be held in by Grant Loy. It goes off the backside of a couple players, forced back to neutral, 6-5-4. That's where things are going to end here as the Pens close out their 2024-25 season with a loss to Little Ceasars. Thanks for tuning in to Cine TV all season long and supporting the 2015 Pittsburgh Penguins Elite. As the Pens close out here, Little Ceasars 3, Pens Elite 2.